Namaskar, Nilesh here with another session of Shraddha and Pradnya. This should be a quick one. All right, let's number this 28 Shraddha and Pradnya. Somebody asked me this question in last couple of days, and I was in a double mind whether to do something about it or just let it pass, because I frankly felt that through these multiple simulations, I have shown the positions of the planets around the sky in the context of nakshatra for the 18 days of the Mahabharata War through different pieces of evidence I am discussing. Also, when I displayed specific Mahabharata references such as 7 planets in the sky together, 7 planets in the vicinity of a sun or together with the sun, 7 planets attacking the moon, and then 7 planets going away from the sky. So I thought that was clear. But I think what this individual is asking is, instead of just a simulation, possibly like a bird's eye view, where these planets are. At least that is the sense I had, just reading his email. So let's go into his email. Okay, PD, those are his initials. Nilesh, I'm following your Shraddha and Pradnya series with rapt attention. Thank you. Now, so far, the Mars and Jupiter stuff is very impressive and consistent, right? And now, so I don't know what he has seen, but now we have started into Saturn. And also, partly we have referred to the positions of Mercury and Venus. Who am I missing? And we did the whole Mars, of course, so we know that. And actually Saturn too. So we have started discussing Saturn. So all visible planets, and that's what we are going to discuss. The Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto only come in the picture when there is a reference to 7 planets, 7 graha, sapta graha. And they were seen in the sense of Rahu Ketu are not to be counted. And of course, these planets are in the context of the sun or in the context of the moon. So sun or moon is also not to be counted. And therefore, we have to actually go and look for the positions of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. All right. So we have done that through, let me think, through the evidence for the 14th day of the war, like Jayadrath, Vad, and astronomy evidence, 14th day. So definitely go look for that episode. Again, another instance on the 16th day of the war. Yes, and we did that too, Dushasan, Vad, and astronomy evidence. And the third instance is 7 days before the Mahabharata War. We have not done as a 7th day before the Mahabharata War, but we have discussed that evidence of 7 planets in the sky. So yes, I have discussed it. Anyways, next, let's go further. Would it be possible for you to provide a 3-dimensional view? And that's what I refer to, that more like maybe he wants to look at the bird's eye view. 3-dimensional view of all the planets of the solar system and where they are with respect to each other. Yeah, fair. It appears many planets were congregated in certain narrow portion of the sky. That is true. I am in the process of acquiring an astronomy simulation, but it will be a while before I am up to the speed. So congratulations that you actively considered acquiring a software. I hope you have acquired it by now and trying to set it up. You can watch my videos to notice the positions of the stars. The Indian nakshatra names that you see won't be there in most cases. There could be a software out there. At least I'm not aware of it. But for example, Karina Soft's Voyager or Skygazer, you can actually label these particular stars with the Yogatara of a nakshatra or nakshatra name for that particular star, the Yogatara. And that's how you can create the path So you have to set up in a certain way, like have the ecliptic. The original setting of the software won't even have an ecliptic already selected. Okay, they give you kind of deliberately blank one, so you decide what you want to select. Then you have to save the options, but follow the manual. Okay, all right. Great work. Thank you. And let's get into that. So how do we do it? I created a PowerPoint. I also have 2 simulations open. So let's see where it goes. Okay, I'm going to show you. Again, take this as a pretty decent but somewhat crude picture of the planetary positions at the time of the Mahabharata War. Think of this as the very first day of the Mahabharata War. Okay, it was a day of Amavasya. Okay, this is the end of a month of a Kartik. Okay, and then the war is going to continue through the first day is the day of Kartik Amavasya, but then it's going to proceed through the first 17 days of Margashirsha. Okay, and Margashirsha in the Amanta system. Remember, we are starting with the Amavasya. So that's the first day, 16 October, 5561 BCE. Keep in mind that this is a crude representation. What I mean by that is if you're looking for exact positions of Mercury and Venus, especially inner planets, it's not going to happen. Ditto for, say, Rahu and Ketu, and these Uranus, Neptune, Pluto won't move much. So I have just put their positions there. All right. So this is the picture, guys. Okay. So just so that you see it, look at the position of the sun. It's like after Jeshta, to the east of Jeshta, somewhere near Mula Purvashada. Again, that one is a bit hard to simulate. Now, I can simulate. The problem is many other things are difficult to simulate, like getting the Amavasya right and getting the nakshatra frame right, especially with respect to the cardinal points. Therefore, I said it's a somewhat crude picture. Actual simulation, it will not be crude at all. It will be right on the money, down to the degree and a minute and a second, arc minute and arc second. That's what I am sharing with you in a simulation. But the simulations are very precise, but not very visual, especially until you get comfortable with them. Okay, then they start communicating with you. Anyways, so think of it. So sun and moon together, that's Amavasya. Mercury is very close to the sun, but to the east of the sun. So after sunset, it will be visible. Think of Venus. Okay, Jupiter is here somewhere. Venus is further east of Jupiter, as seen from the Earth. Remember that. Okay, it's all apparent view. Then Mars is after Shravana. Remember, Brahma Rashi, Samavrutta Lohitango Vyavastita. Mars is between Shravana and Dhanishta. So along Brahma Rashi, that would be somewhere here. What else? Okay, so Jupiter is there. Then Uranus was just east of Mars. See, this is how we will call it east, going in this direction. That's how these planets are going, in this direction, going east, from west to east, like that. Then Shatabhishesh. So Neptune was around Shatabhishesh, Purva, Bhadrapada, Dhanishta, somewhere there. Again, their positions are not going to move a lot. Okay, in the 18 days or around the time of the Mahabharata itself, like plus minus 1 year. Uranus is here, Neptune is here. Pluto was between Kritika and Rohini. It's also going to more or less stay there. And of course, Rahu and Ketu move, but just keep in mind they're going to be 180-degree opposite. And if, say, Rahu is somewhere in the region of Mula Nakshatra, then exactly 180-degree opposite is where Ketu would be. Okay. All right. So that's how the picture would look. Yeah. One more thing. In fact, Saturn is the only planet that's kind of separated from all other planets. And Saturn is between Hasta and Chitra and is approaching Chitra. That is Shveto Grahas Tatha Chitra Samati Kramyatishtati. So that's this discussion here. And I'm going to show you a simulation of Mercury. It's rising against the western horizon. So rising above the western horizon with every day, because it's going in the eastern direction. So after sunset, it will always look up for the 18 days. Venus would go this way. And what else I can show you? The first day, if you remember, the Mars was seen near Venus from the Earth, that you can see it here, or Mars and Mercury were seen in the same area of the sky together in the nearby area. So that can be shown here. What else? I cannot think of anything else for the first day. So that's it here. Let me see what else I have. Okay, so let me show you in the simulation what you would have seen. The first day of the war, October 16, this is sun and moon together. Now here in the simulation, their positions are accurate, precise. That is not possible to show into a demonstration piece that I just showed you, and the one I'm going to show you, that same piece, okay? But these positions are very precise and accurate, okay? And I can expand it, and the software allows the different types of flexibility that is not there in a demo piece. But demo piece is good for visualization, especially people who are not comfortable with still trying to understand, taking a two-dimensional view in the simulation and try to visualize in a three-dimension. So sun and moon together on the day of Amavasya. Let's see. Okay, the Mercury is right here, okay, near that Purvashada or somewhere. Jupiter is not far from there. Venus is after that here. Let's see. Yeah, Uttarashada, sorry, not Purvashada, Uttarashada. So Venus is here, close to Mars. Then next to Mars is a Uranus. Then after that is a Neptune. And if you come all the way to Kritika and Rohini, then you will see Pluto here. If this is the orbit, okay, the path of the moon, and now it is crossing this way. So it's coming from the north, going from west to east, coming from the north and going down here somewhere near Rohini. So that's Ketu. And okay, going from the south to the north, the node of the moon around Nakshatra Mula. So that's Rahu. And what else? Okay, so if you look at, for example, forget Rahu and Ketu, and just start looking from Mercury here all the way to Pluto. And what you will find is, I mean, because I play with this every day, actually, I can easily quickly say that, but you can actually do the measurement. Say Mercury, that's 1137. And let's see, let's do Pluto. So that's 2135, 1137. So let's take that as 2135. Very good. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So like a 10 hour, okay? All the planets, with the exception of Saturn, okay? So Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And how many are these? Like 7, must be 7. Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, sorry, Venus in between, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Yeah, 7 planets. They are within 10 hours of right ascension. So 10 times 15. So 1 hour in right ascension is 15 degrees. So out of total of 360 degrees, think of this on the first day of the war. With the exception of Saturn, all the other planets of the solar system are within a span of 150 degrees. Okay, so definitely half of the sky and slightly shorter, actually significantly shorter than half of the sky. So that's all I can show this here. Let me stop that. And let's see if we can run the simulation. All right, let's try. Give it a try. This may or may not work, okay? Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, it actually may work. Let's see. All right, so Earth at the center, we are watching from the Earth. Keep in mind, this is going to be somewhat crude. It will not be as precise and accurate like the astronomy simulation software. But for visualization, the bird's eye view or three-dimensional view, as close as it gets to three-dimensional, this one will be easy to see who is where against the nakshatra background. So notice Saturn is here between Hasta and Chitra. That's the only planets that's kind of far away. Otherwise, you are going to see all the planets here. And this is a simulator, so I'm not, and there is no Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. You cannot show nodes. You cannot show retrograde in this one. And there are restrictions on how accurately you can show Mercury and Venus. But keep in mind, Ketu was here, Rahu was here, Uranus was just east of Mars, so that was Uranus was here, Neptune was near Shatabhishaj, and Pluto was here. So think of it, other than Saturn, all the planets are in this other half. Okay. Now, one thing we can do in this simulator is walk you through the 18 days of the war. So you may be able to see what you see, as seen from the Earth. So remember, you are standing on the Earth here and looking at this scene. In fact, it doesn't matter where you are, because within 24 hours, this thing is going to rotate around itself. Okay, so let's say you are in India, this is India here. You are standing here. Even if you are facing this way, don't wonder like, oh, how are you going to watch Jupiter and Mercury? Because Earth will take you around. Okay, so when that happens, the day and the night, you're going to see all these planets. Okay, and within 24 hours, they are not going to move much, especially the outer planets are not going to move much at all. Okay, so let me walk you through 18 days and we can stop. So this is the first day of the war, Amavasya. So as seen from the Earth, notice the moon and the sun will be essentially together. You will not see the moon. All you will see is a sun. Because moon is so close to it. Okay, all right. So this is day 1. Let's go day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9, day 10. Now, this is the day when Bhishmacharya fell in the battle. Okay, the 10th day is where moon is described rising with its pointed ends down. So it was a Shukla Paksha. Okay, yeah, it is a Margashirsha Shukla Navami. So if you just look at the crescent moon of the Pratipada, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, it's easy to visualize, of course, but just you have to continue that thinking until the 10th day. And we might have looked at that evidence. If not, I mean, those who have read the book, of course, you should know. If not, go reread. The 10th day is described where moon was rising with its pointed ends down. And that is a beautiful description of the Shukla Paksha. That itself is a wonderful evidence for falsification of anyone who does not start the war, does not claim the first day of the war as a day of Amavasya. Okay, all right, so that's the 10th day. This is the day when Bhishma fell down. Let's do 11th, let's do 12th. And 12th day, Mahabharata describes moon and a full moon like moon. Now, see, this is the moon is far away from the sun. In just another 4 or 5 days, it's going to be at the full moon position. But here, the illumination of the moon is significant, and it is described as a full moon, but more so, Mahabharata describes this as a full moon like moon. I mean, it doesn't say full moon like moon. I am saying full moon like moon, so that people do not confuse this just a full moon description as a Purnima, as some Mahabharata researchers either have done out of ignorance of astronomy, lack of understanding of astronomy, or just in a mischievous fashion to confuse the audience, okay, confuse the average Indic person. So here, the moon, full moon like moon, is described near Nakshatra Kritika on the 12th day, and you can see that getting there. Let's go 13. 13th day is the one when Abhimanyu was killed. Okay, 14th is when Jayadrath was killed. 15 when Drona was killed. right? 16th is when Dushasan was killed. This is the day again 7 planets were seen, and you can actually see those 7 planets there, right? In fact, if you go, that's 16th day, right? I was also going to go back, say 15th and 14th. Yeah, this one is also a good one. So if you look at the 14th day of the war, there is a description of 7 planets attacking the moon, and that you can actually literally count from here: Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Mars. So how many are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And then we have Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto here. Okay, so those 4 plus 3, 7 planets attacking the moon that was seen at the time of the sunset and when the moon was rising on the 14th day. So that's 14. 15th is when Drona was killed. 16th is when Dushasan was killed. And again, 7 planets were seen going away from the sun. And if you look at again these same 7 planets, none of them were in retrograde with the exception of Pluto, but Pluto doesn't move at all. Practically doesn't move as seen from the Earth. And of course, you cannot see with the naked eyes. Anyway, so that's 16 day, beautiful validation of that. Let's do one more. What happens on 17th? Sorry, I went faster, I think. Yeah, I missed it now. Okay, let's say this is 17. Forgive me. And this is the day of a Karna Vada. And what did we see? Okay, Mercury is rising. It has gone beyond Jupiter. So if somebody was facing the western horizon, sun sets, and the first thing you will see along the horizon on the western horizon is Jupiter, and then above would be Mercury. And Mercury was just rising through these 16 and through the 18 days of the war. And then the Jupiter, okay, Jupiter, 18 days. Jupiter was giving a Pida to Nakshatra Rohini here. So whatever those nakshatras are, 8, 9, or 10 nakshatras, okay, by being at the opposite ends of the horizon. So that's what it is. And I might have just gone one more step, but if not, so last day, Pushya Nakshatra, okay, beginning of a Kali Yuga. And okay, the last day of the war, Yudhishthir killed Shalya. Oh, yeah, that reference you can see. Now, if you look at in this part of the sky, like which is to say after sunset and after moon rises, as seen from the Earth, of course, right? What you are going to see is that until the next day's moonrise, all that was there in the sky is this Saturn and the moon. And that is the reference I already shared with you for the last day of the war. Also, something else that people noticed on the last day of the war is what? Bhrigu Suno, that is here, Venus, Dharaputro, Mars, Shashi Jaina Samanvita. These 3 planets were seen close together from the Earth, of course, on the 18th day of the war. So you can see that too. So yes, it is possible to show a illustration, demonstrations, a bird's eye view, a 3-dimensional view for how these planets would have looked like. This is not the best, but this is as good as it gets. And frankly, this is again done by Amareshji. And unless you do it, you will not know how difficult it is to do. And those of you who might be familiar with this software and whatnot, the software portion may be easy, but let me just mention the how lucky I feel in having Amareshji as part of my broader soft dharmic team, I would say. That all I have to do, all I have to do is just give him a rough idea what I'm looking for. Sometimes even I'm not exactly sure what is possible in the software or how it will appear in demonstration. And you know what? I don't have to worry about taking care of or ensuring that the silly mistakes are not made. I don't have to worry with Amaresh. In fact, there are many things that I don't think of that I should actually be pointing out. But, all I have to do is say, hey, this is the kind of thing I'm looking for. Next thing, he will go he will go through these specific periods. for each of the planets and so on. So I'll just show you how cool this stuff is, okay? So actually what I wanted to show, what this PD or whatever the initials the guy asked, that has been done. But I'll show you what he has done. He has embedded, it looks like a simple lines and these planets just are dots, and one is called Jupiter, another is called Mars. Granted, in this, we will not able to show the nodes, we will not able to show the retrogrades. I mean, that is given. But just to give you an idea how cool this stuff is, just even for demonstration purposes, let me just let it go, okay? So we have done the demonstration, but just see how fascinating this stuff is that he has built, okay? All right. So the moon is going around, and of course I can slow down the speed. Hopefully I don't do it so you can see what's going on. Otherwise people don't know what's going on, okay? I think it slowed down, or maybe it hasn't. All right. Yes, let's see. I don't want to suddenly disturb anything. Yeah, there. Okay. So that's like I slowed down the speed there so that you can at least focus on certain areas and see what it is. So what Amarish ji has done is he has set the moon speed for, you know, the synodic cycle, the what's the other one? Forgive me. This sidereal cycle, you know, the 27 days nakshatra to nakshatra, 29.53 days average from a one phase to the same phase again, Amavasya to Amavasya. Sun is doing it in a 365.2478. Jupiter is going to do in 11.83 years. Saturn is going to do in 29 point whatever. Mars is going to do it in 1.88. Mercury is going to do it in 88 days. Venus is going to do it in 224 or whatever the time frame, the orbital period. That's what he has done. I'm going to increase the speed a little bit, and so you get to see some more action there. What's happening? So by itself, this is the cool stuff, although it will not show all the nuances, such as the Vakra motion, like oblique crossing of a planet, because this is not a true three-dimensional view. But, you know, I don't want some really novice person to come and say, oh, well, yeah, so build a three-dimensional view. No, I would encourage them to actually build something like this. I assure you, it will be taking, I mean, most of you guys might be spending 10 years there, okay, just trying to do this, which someone like Amresh can do it in a couple of days or even shorter while doing his job and so on, you know. So, and by the way, no one gets paid here, guys, okay? So that's, people are doing it out of love for dharma as their duty. That's what dharma is. Dhru stand for dharmo rakshati rakshita. Okay, but just see how even a simple demo piece, I say simple, there's a lot that has gone into building of it, but you can actually get a much better idea of what's happening. So imagine yourself standing above the plane of the solar system, but with Earth as the focus, as if like the Earth is stationary. Well, it's not. Actually, it's the Earth that's going around the sun. But remember, all the astronomy that's happening is on the Earth. So it is geocentric. So everything that we look at, all the orbits, for example, all the retrograde. Why do we see retrograde? Because we are watching these planets from the Earth. And in reality, they are going around the sun and not around the Earth. Okay, with the exception of the moon. And that's why we see retrograde. I mean, you are not going to see any of the planets of solar system go retrograde if you are standing on the sun. Okay, I hope you get that. Okay, therefore, precisely for that reason, when we look at the sun and moon, okay, we don't see retrograde motion for either sun or moon. Why not? Because moon is actually going around the Earth, okay? So there is no apparent motion to worry about, which is what causes retrograde. And in case of sun, actually it's the Earth that's going around the sun, but seen from the Earth, it appears like sun is going around the earth, but it's like a similar in the think of relativity. Therefore, sun and moon don't show retrograde motion. And if the time permits, at some point, I will show that to you, why sun does not create a retrograde motion as seen from the earth, and why moon does not create a retrograde motion as seen from the earth. However, all other planets, especially the planets visible to the naked eye, the 5 planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn do. All right, I think you had enough fun. Let me stop it. And let me stop all this. All right, I'll see you shortly in another session of Shraddha and Pradnya. Namaskar.